What up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Those Two Dudes. It's that dude, Josh.
That's that dude, Ruben.
Man, we are back at it again. We got a lot on the plate. I'm sure for everyone watching on YouTube, you can see my background. It's NBA Jam. I'm repping the NBA Jam shirt right now. San Antonio Spurs. Go Spurs, go. Josh and I, one of our biggest things that we have in common ever, other than we like to do minimal work, is video games. Video games have been a part of our lives since way back when, probably back in the Super Nintendo days. That's probably when we started heavily playing, but it's even before that. So obviously that got us talking, that got us arguing, debating, thinking, what are some of the best sports games? Now, we compiled a list of 32 games, sports games. I will say my list was initially a lot longer. It was about 54-ish games deep. But Josh said he wanted to condense it to 16, which is ridiculous to have 16 games.
We're talking the best games of all time.
Exactly. And 16 games do not do that justice. But for everybody out there on Instagram, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, check us out on Spotify, check us out on Facebook. Those Two Dudes, Instagram handle at Those Two Dudes Podcast. YouTube is Those Two Dudes. Check us out, like and subscribe, follow, thumbs up, everything in between, share. But yeah, even on our Instagram, we threw out some stories and we threw out some polls, and we were pretty impressed about everybody's participation and what they were voting on too. So kind of crazy. We'll be posting the results and we'll post the overall brackets. But without further ado, let's dive into it, man. Let's dive into it. Let's argue a little bit. Let's start in. We have 4 different regions. Let's start in the arcade region. Okay, so we have our 1-8 matchup. This is NBA Jam versus Mario and Sonic Olympics. Look, obviously the NBA Jam logos in the back, all the games going. I'm wearing the NBA Jam shirt. Is it safe to say we agree it's NBA Jam?
I think this one's an easy one. Look, NBA Jam is special because you don't have to be a sports fan to enjoy it. You could you could beat people up. You could do flips in the air. What kid wouldn't like that? They don't have to like basketball at all to enjoy it. But then if you do like basketball, it's even more special because you get your favorite players from each team. Old school players, especially if you're a 90s kid or 2000s kid. So yeah, it's a no-brainer.
No brainer. Like you said, it's very kid friendly. So even as a kid, it's fun to play this game and you don't really necessarily have to know the rules of basketball. You can just play. So super easy. Next matchup, 4 versus 5, Cruising USA and Buck Hunter.
See, for me, this is kind of easy, but I will say, so the local bowling alley when I was growing up had both of these arcade games in their game room. So I played a little bit of both, but I always gravitated to Cruising USA. I don't know what it was. I guess I've never been much for hunting in real life either, so maybe that's what it is. Get in that car, you could pick any kind of car. They have classic cars. They got, for those times, modern cars. You could pick like easy, medium, hard, and which based on that is what city you'll end up in. So you could go anywhere, different cities, different countries, even, I believe.
So you pick Cruising USA. That's your go-to right there.
Out of those 2 games, yeah Cruising USA I played that a lot.
I picked Buck Hunter because Cruising USA was fun. Obviously, we're not knocking that. This is a 4-5 matchup, so it's supposed to be close. But Buck Hunter, for me, Buck Hunter was pretty cool because it's just so easy to, you put that dollar in and, for an arcade game, $1 might as well be worth $20 because that's a lot of money because you just don't have a lot of ones laying around. And then you get 2 shots. And if you don't shoot the deer and you accidentally shoot a cow, the game's over. It's over. And so it just ends right then and there. You have to be super precise. And then also, it's in every bar too. So even as an adult, Like you could still play that. It's still not necessarily relevant, but it's still entertaining.
So you could play $1's like $20. Not nowadays, maybe back then.
No, but like with an arcade, right? Because you don't have a ton of loose ones. You only have a certain amount of ones on you.
Okay.
Yeah, but okay.
Well, yeah,
So
I mean, I don't know.
we'll
I
split
think
it.
Cruising USA is more exciting. Like you got cars flying at you, you got to dodge cars, you got to dodge people.
Yeah.
Like you're turning, you're going fast. Like it's more energy, more lively, more active. The shooting game, you're just kind of like chilling there, knocking off some deer.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay.
have to go with Cruising USA.
Okay. So we'll split it there. You'll take cruising. I'll take bug
How are
hunter.
we gonna? How do you want to decide? Like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna decide?
I'm writing this little fake thing over here, and we'll this little fake bracket on my end. So we'll circle back to that. Maybe we'll play, I don't know, rock paper scissors or something. I don't know. But so next up is Golden Tee and Mario Kart. That's
Golden.
the matchup.
Golden. Okay, so yeah, that was so. First of all, I played both. Both are good. Golden Tee. My uncle had that arcade game in his bar. So I played that growing up. It for the time, the graphics were solid. It felt pretty authentic for the time being when it came out. I guess probably the late 90s.
Probably mid 90s, to be honest. But yeah.
90s. See, it was a solid game. Mario Kart, that's a classic. Like, who hasn't? If you're between the ages of like your late 20s to your early 40s, you've had to play Mario Kart. And you can play again. That's one of them games that anybody can play. Your cousins, your brothers, your mom could pick it up and play it. Like anybody could play that game and have a good time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm pretty sure I could pick that up right now and have a good time for a solid 30 minutes to an hour. So yeah, I'm rolling. You could throw the bananas backwards and have people slip on them, throw them off. Yeah, man, that game was.
Yeah, I mean, no, like with Mario Kart, no lead is safe, right? You could be in first place and you could see the finish line, and then someone just strikes you with lightning, or they throw something, throw a mushroom at you or
something.
Shell, and then you're done, and then you end up in sixth place. So that's no lead is safe in Mario Kart. But yeah, I'm with you on this one. I'm rolling with Mario Kart. Obviously, Golden Tee is fun. My only issue with Golden Tee is, and probably let's say it came out in 96, 97. My guess is it probably hasn't been updated since 99. That game still looks exactly the same as it did when we first played. No real updates, at least that I've seen around. And again, right, it's another bar game. And also, with Mario Kart, it's an actual console game too. So it's not just an arcade game. You can go to an arcade and physically drive, but you could play. Obviously, it's big on 64. Started on the Super Nintendo. Obviously now it's big on Nintendo Switch. So it's still very relevant now. But I'm rolling with Mario Kart on this one. We're both rolling it there. And then in the 2-7 matchup, we got NFL Blitz versus Wii Sports. Is it safe to say we both have Blitz?
Yeah. I mean, by the time we came out, I was probably about 20 years old. And I ain't down for, it's one of those games like you pick up, you have a good time for about 15, 30 minutes, and then you're done.
Yeah.
I played the Wii Tennis. It was cool, but it's not something that I'm looking forward to go home and just turn it on every day. Like, you got first of all, the graphics. I mean, the characters look like little Lego guys or something like that. I don't know. Like,
well, they got floating heads, but I mean,
floating heads. Yeah.
look, the answer is Blitz, right? The answer is definitely Blitz.
Yeah. So Blitz is basically like the NFL version of NBA Jam, kind of.
Sure. It's definitely. I could see that. But look, it's Blitz, but Wii Sports was definitely revolutionary because it was, I can't think of another game that was motion activated, so like Wii as a whole, the console was revolutionary. So for Wii Sports, that was the first game where you were physically playing tennis on a video game console. You were boxing, you were bowling, you were playing baseball. So like you had to physically move opposed to just holding a controller and pushing buttons. But we're rolling with blitz. Obviously that was fun. It was impossible to run a basic offense. You just pushed a button and hope somebody was open before you just got murdered. But no, yeah, it's blitz. But again, not a knock on Wii Sports. That game was revolutionary. Cool. So we got through the first round with arcade. Should we continue on to the second round, or should we hit up another bracket's first round, another region's first round?
Let's do all the first round.
Okay. So let's go into. All right. So this is the region we like to keep it old school. This is our childhood region. This is 2000s and older. So let's start with.
What do you mean by 2000 and older?
I'm sorry, 2000 and older. Yeah, 2000. Yeah. The year 2000 and older. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So first we got Mario Tennis versus NBA Live 2000. I got Mario Tennis. What do you got?
Okay. So I'm a huge sports fan. So typically I'd roll with the NBA Live, but
yeah,
we're talking basically about the 90s here. NBA Live 2000 came out in 99.
NBA Live came out like in 95.
No, you're talking about, you said NBA Live 2000, right? Right
yeah.
Now. That's the game we're talking about.
Oh, okay, but I thought you said okay. Yeah.
It came out in 99.
Yeah. You're right.
So simulation sports games, they weren't that good yet in the 90s. And on the other hand, Mario Tennis, that was in my local McDonald's for years, longer than it should have been probably, but
it might still be there. I don't even know.
But every time I went there, yeah, I enjoyed a little bit of Mario Tennis. It's fun. It was actually fun. So
Mario Tennis was fun.
Mario Tennis.
It's fun, and honestly, I don't think. It probably does, but for what the Mario franchise has done for sports, I don't think gets enough credit, because I'm sure the sports games have introduced kids.
That's what I was going to say.
A lot of kids to sports.
Yeah, so those games, those Mario sports games, and some other games that we have on our list here are good video games to introduce your child to sports if they're not really into it yet. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, so shout out the Mario franchise. That's pretty cool. Next matchup we have Tony Hawk versus King Griffey Jr. baseball.
So Tony Hawk, that game was like, in its own right, it's kind of revolutionary. Like, I don't know if you remember, like, it seemed like every 11, 12-year-old kid decided they thought they could be Tony Hawk at that time.
Just by holding R1 and then pushing circle, and you thought you were a skateboarder in real life.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, for that reason alone, I'm rolling with Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Tony Hawk was cool, man. Love Tony Hawk. King Griffey Jr. baseball was cool. Obviously, I'm a huge King Griffey Jr. fan. The problem with this is there were just a lot of baseball games to choose from at that time, whereas skateboarding, it was this one. This was this one, and it was really good at that. So there was no comparison. So rolling with Tony Hawk, obviously, another part of it, which I think one could argue that EA Sports and 2K maybe took a page out of later on in their games, but Tony Hawk's soundtrack was pretty memorable. So that's pretty cool too. But yeah, so we're both rolling Tony Hawk. In the 3-6 matchup, we got Backyard Baseball and Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
So I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about either of these games. I do know that Mike Tyson's Punch Out it was pretty popular, because I know I've heard of that game multiple times growing up. I just never really got into it.
Yeah.
So for that reason alone, I guess I'm good. The other one, I did a little research, and it looked like it was another game that's probably something you could introduce your kids to if you want them to get into sports. But it looks like it's for kids that are under the age of 8. So I'm rolling with the Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
All right. I I like backyard baseball just because it's exactly what it is. You're playing baseball in a backyard, and it's obviously the graphics were super like PlayStation 1-ish, but like, we could relate. We could relate to playing baseball in the backyard. It was more relatable to us as human beings. Mike Tyson Punch Out though was, I guess it's also revolutionary. So I mean, I guess I'll roll Punch Out, but whatever. I'm just being suckered into passing on backyard baseball and Pablo Sanchez, the GOAT of baseball games.
When did you play that game?
Huh?
When did you play that game?
I don't remember, but it was just like, it was a fun game, but it also wasn't a game that you just wanted to play for a long time.
Yeah. I hope you were over the age of 12.
Oh, I was probably 19. No, I don't know. I really don't know. All right. So the next matchup we have is Mario Golf versus Tecmo Super Bowl.
Same thing. Like true sports games, they weren't it yet. Tecmo Super Bowl? Is that what it was called?
Yeah. So this
is like early 90s.
Yeah, this one was I think the issue was maybe these games fixated too much on individual stars rather than the whole game. So like this one is known for having Bo Jackson as its star.
Okay, yeah. And that was like one of the first ones that got that was like popular or whatnot.
It was like star driven. And so
but it wasn't just that. I mean, they didn't have the technology to make
it was the 80s. Yeah.
And there were no real teams or anything like that. They didn't have any NFL licensing agreements or anything like that at that point. It was just like whatever city versus whatever city. And the gameplay was terrible still. But yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, that's what got everything going. Like, so I'm glad it came out, but no.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah. So we both have Mario Golf. And for the same reasons that we talked about, it's revolutionary because Mario Sports introducing golf to kids. It's easy to play. The gameplay is easy, and it makes you think that you know what you're doing in golf, when in reality you know nothing about golf.
Golf is the most difficult sport I've ever played. Like that is the one sport. Like usually I pick up sports at least decently pretty quickly. Not golf. So yeah.
Golf's really not that hard, but that's fine.
Mario Golf is great for someone like myself.
All right. So that's the old school region, the kind of stuff that we grew up with. Again, folks, don't forget, like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, even Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. Listen to us on the road. Let us annoy you for 40, 50 minutes a day. Check us out, guys. So like, subscribe, follow, share, push the button. So we got two more regions now. We got the 01 and 08, which is kind of like the middle school, high schools, like our coming of age. And then we also have like the new school. What region you want to cover?
I want to save our middle school, high school,
coming of age region.
I want to say that one last because that's going to be the most difficult one. That was when sports were in their heyday, sports games.
Okay. So let's zoom by this because I know this won't be that hard. So first matchup, 1-8, NCAA football 14 versus NHL 09.
That's not fair, man. Like NHL 09 is probably one of the only games that we have in that bracket that's pre.
It is, but that's our fault, right? It's our fault because we don't know enough about hockey. Hockey video games, they're kind of fun.
They're kind of fun, yeah.
The problem is we just don't know. We couldn't name more than 3 players on the video game. We don't know a ton of the rules, so we don't know about rearranging rosters and all that. But obviously we're both going to pick NCAA 14. Yeah, but to give NHL 09 a shout out, it was the first game. It was the first EA Sports game in hockey to build your player from the ground up. So like they would start you'd create them and you just like do like a story, not necessarily a story mode, but you start them out, they're a rookie, and they do go training camp, and they have to build their way on the team. So that was revolutionary for 09.
Yeah, that's nice. But NCAA 14, that's arguably the greatest NCAA. It's the last NCAA football game that came out, and it's probably it's possibly number one. I have a couple others.
No, and look,
like to throw in there,
and we're definitely jumping the gun here. But
I'm not gonna don't go there yet.
No. I just want to say that this 14 is probably going to go far, but just a little nugget I want to throw out. If they never stopped making the game, would 14 be on this list?
Probably so. Because look, man, Madden and them, they started doing all this VC stuff where you have to like buy crap, and it started causing glitches and games and all that. So Madden fell completely off. People hate Madden, especially old school gamers like ourselves. They hate Madden now.
Are you sure though? I mean, I think maybe it would be, just for the simple fact that it would have been the last game that was part of the BCS.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And the next one would have had
the next one with the playoffs.
I mean, if they didn't go the Madden route, sure, it could be good. It could be good if they focused on franchise. Because so what made NCAA great was dynasty mode. So if they kept that as a primary focus, then the game could have stayed legit. But I don't know if they would have done that or not. Okay. But there's probably going to be another EA Sports college football game coming out in the next 2 years. So.
Yeah, there will be, but that's for a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. So on to NCAA 14 takes it. Going to the 4-5 matchup. NBA 2K17 versus Tiger Woods Golf. 2012.
Man, so, bro, 2K17 is, look, it's probably the best. It's one of the best 2Ks. It's out of 2K11, 16, and 17. I like 17 because it's the most in-depth My League, which is their version of franchise or dynasty, whatever you want to call it. It's the most in-depth one there is. It's fully customized. Game, like with their actual uniforms, their actual court, all that stuff. You can customize the stadium. It's awesome. Like if you like being in control of the dynasty and making it how you want it to be, you can do that. So for that reason, that's a no-brainer on that.
Okay, so I'll roll with NBA 2K17. I definitely do feel bad though, because Tiger Woods had to go against this, and that Tiger Woods is a fun game. That's not a knock. That's a fun game, and 2012 was the first game that had Augusta, the golf course, where they play the Masters as a playable course. So that was a big deal at the time. But yeah, I'll roll with 2K17. I got no issues there. Next matchup, we got FIFA 2010 World Cup versus the Show 2019 MLB. What do you think?
Man, so this one's tough because, again, I don't play much baseball games. I haven't played this baseball game yet. I've heard some good things about it, but I have played FIFA. FIFA is just so FIFA World Cup specifically. The World Cup version is legit because you actually know what you're doing, who you're playing, and what your goal is. Like if it was like regular FIFA, I don't know all those teams, and I just get confused. Like in FIFA World Cup, you have your pool play, you win that, you go to the main bracket, and you go against all the other countries. Be the USA, and you know exactly what the goal is. And soccer games, the graphics are really good. Like I don't know if it's like easier to make the graphics look good in soccer or what, but the graphics always look like top notch in soccer games. So yeah, I'm gonna go with FIFA.
Okay, I'll go with FIFA too. I think the Show 19 is phenomenal. And I think, honestly, the Show video games are phenomenal. The only issue that I have with the Show video games is that they are almost all the same. So, like, there's not a ton of differences between the two. But if we're talking the Show, like the franchise.
Yeah, I want to know how good their franchise is.
Yeah, the franchise as a whole.
That's number one.
As a whole it's up there because of what you can do. you can now, and now I think it's in 2020 or maybe it was in 19 also, or 2021, one of the newer ones. You can build a stadium from scratch. You can customize it. You can change the dimensions of the field. Add in any type of different grass. That is awesome. So that's a very cool feature.
That's cute. They barely added that. Now that's good that they added that though. That's I'll touch on that.
So no, I mean really, baseball is the only sport that you can every different field is different than the other one. Every basketball court is the same. Every football field is the same. Every tennis court is the same. So when it comes to baseball, every field is different. So that's cool that you can build one from scratch.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
But yeah, we're both rolling with FIFA. FIFA is really fun. Maybe
you don't got to really be a soccer fan if you just
kick
I don't know, you just kick the ball. But the game's actually fun. I guess just playing for your country or whatnot. I think that that makes it kind of special. I don't know. I like the game though.
If you've ever played FIFA and you scored a goal and you didn't take your shirt off at home, then you never played FIFA. That's just period. So you got to celebrate it like they do. And then the last matchup we have in this first round on this side of the region is NBA 2K11 and Fight Night Round 4.
So 2K11 is one of the all-time greatest 2K, just like 17. That was the first 2K you could play with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was on the cover. It kind of set, I believe that's one of the ones that set it apart from NBA Live.
From EA Sports.
Yeah, EA Sports, NBA Live.
Is EA Sports still making basketball games?
I don't think they did this year. I know they did. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. They have semi-recently. I know that, but I think maybe the last couple of years they haven't.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they couldn't compete. They couldn't. Each time they try to step up, 2K just pulled away, added something else that they couldn't touch.
I'm gonna roll with 2K11, like you said. I really enjoyed Fight Night. That was fun to play with friends, like nice little party game. NBA 2K11 changed the game. It propelled them over EA Sports, and it kept them over EA Sports to the point where EA Sports hasn't really, we're questioning, do they even make basketball games anymore?
Yeah, I don't think they have.
Yeah, and you definitely know 2K still does. And it's just like, you talk about, well, who's on the cover of Madden? You also talk about, well, who's on the cover of 2K, the basketball game. So that's a big deal. Cool. So we finished the new age. Now let's hit the coming of age region. I know this is going to be hard, but let's get through this and let's see if we can, how fast we can get through this.
So this is the golden era of sports simulation sports game, specifically football games.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this is gonna be kind of difficult.
All right, let's go through it. Let's go through it as fast as we can. So we got the 2-7 matchup. We got College Hoops 2K8 versus NCAA Football 02.
This is not a fair matchup for NCAA 02 because they're going against a game that was made in the late 2000s. And that was I think just a couple years before the last college basketball game was made.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely rolling with that. NCAA
college basketball?
02, yeah, college NCAA.
Okay.
Either 02 or 01 was the first one that got me on NCAA.
Yeah.
But they hadn't hit their peak yet. They hadn't hit their peak. They didn't hit their peak till later in the 2000s. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So cool. So all right, we got that out of the way. That was a little less painful. I got College Hoops 2K8 also. 2K they were starting to step their groundwork and chase an EA and overcome EA eventually. But that was a good college game. But also, what makes it good, just like NCAA 14, is these college basketball games don't exist anymore. So those are fun to reminisce and to play and to be part of March Madness in those tournaments. Yeah, big deal there. Next matchup we have For the average video game goer, this probably might be you could just pick or choose, but there are definitely differences. We got Madden 05 versus Madden 06.
Okay, so man, this one is really tough. So Madden 05 was the first game. Madden 04 was the first game where they really had everything. But Madden 05, they stepped it up with the graphics.
And so Madden 05,
graphics,
Madden 05 was big because it introduced the hit stick. That was huge. That was huge because
and the graphics changed from 04 to 05. They went from a cartoonish look to more of an authentic look, of course,
sure.
for its time, of course.
Yeah.
So that you added the Tony Bruno show, which brought a fun element to the franchise mode. You had the hit stick, you had your training camps, you had your owner. Basically, your owner, you were the owner, so you could set ticket prices, you could set concession stand prices, and the goal was to make money. You had to make money, or you were at risk of losing your team. So
yeah.
And with that money, you could make additions to your stadium and all that. You carry that over to Madden 06. It also had all that stuff. But then you add superstar mode. That was the first Madden that had superstar mode, where you pick your parents basically, and they have their DNA, and based on that, it's kind of how good you are and all that stuff. And
just
also,
like real life. Just like real life.
Right. And then also in franchise mode, or gameplay rather. So in 05, they had the hit stick. In 06, they added to that, and they had the truck stick, so you could run people over on offense. And you had the little step back juke move or whatever that they added as well. So I mean, so rosters are big for me too. I like if your roster has a lot of players. If the game has a lot of players from my youth, I kind of lean towards those games. Both of those games had tons of players still. Like 06 had Deion Sanders. And I think, Jerry Rice was even on 06 still. That was the year he went to the Denver Broncos.
But he wasn't good. His rating was steadily declining.
His rating was actually all right. It was in the 80s. I mean, you could still play with them. In real life, he didn't end up playing that year. If you remember, he was only with the Broncos in the preseason, and then he retired. But he's in that game. Deion Sanders is in that game. There's a lot of old school players that are still in that game. So I'm rolling, man. Madden 05 might be better, because it set the tone, but 06 is actually better. I'm gonna roll with 06.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll with 06.
Okay, I got 05 just because it's gonna have the same. You said you want old school, so why wouldn't you just go the year before that will have more old school players in it? And then also the introduction of the hit stick, that was huge. That's revolutionary. I mean, God, what you could do that evolves into that now, it's pretty crazy on Madden. But
the one reason I could say you can go with 05 is because that's when they made a pretty big jump in graphics as far as from a cartoonish look to an actual more of an authentic look. But if you're talking about rosters, the only noticeable player that I remember 05 having that 06 didn't was Emmitt Smith. Other than that, 06 had a lot of the old school players from the 90s still, and the 2000s, obviously. But I mean, I'm okay. If we're gonna split, if we're gonna both go, you got Madden 05, I got 06. I'm cool with taking 05. We can roll with that. Either one of these they're both two of the top Maddens. They are my two favorite Maddens of all time. So
all right, so let's roll with 05 then. Let's roll with 05.
That's cool. I'm good with
that. So
speaking
of Madden, next matchup we have is Madden 04 versus NCAA football 08. So for those that don't know, because obviously these games were 15 plus years ago, Madden 04 had the Michael Vick cover. Similar to Tecmo Super Bowl, it was very player centric, where if you were Michael Vick, you could do whatever you wanted. Just like you could, if you were Bo Jackson in Tecmo Super Bowl, you could do whatever you wanted. If you were Mike Vick, you were the man.
That's true, but it was, let's not get it twisted. It was a lot more besides Mike Vick, it was a lot more realistic. The graphics were decent. The graphics were decent. Graphics got decent in the early 2000s. However, they were still cartoonish through 04. 04 did have franchise mode and owner with the capabilities of setting prices and all that stuff. So they had all the stuff in franchise mode that you want in a franchise mode already, which is pretty crazy for being a game that was made in 2003. So they did have all that. The main thing that I think separates 05 from 04 is basically the graphics for the most part, and then you added the hit stick as well.
So they're going up. They're going up against NCAA 2008. Now NCAA, I know we took a poll on our Instagram. You know, there was a lot. The more people chose Madden 04, but I think what gets overlooked in this, because I feel like you would go NCAA and so would I, because NCAA 08 this was revolutionary because this introduced the use of campus legends in 08.
And one more thing. Now let's make a distinction. We're talking about Madden 08 for PS2 and Xbox. We're not talking about Madden 08 for PS3 and the 360, because that game was trash.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about NCAA 08 for PS2 and Xbox. This is the game that introduced training camps into Dynasty mode. So you can actually train with your players and make them better in the off season in different drills. And this is what really made this game special, in my opinion. So
I agree.
NCAA 08 does take the cake over Madden 04.
I agree. I know the popular vote doesn't, but this is an electoral college, and we have the majority votes, and we chose NCAA 08. So cool. All right. So the last matchup of the first round, which might be the hardest, is NFL 2K8, arguably one of the best NFL games of all time, versus MVP Baseball 05. MVP Baseball 05 is a pretty good game, but in Josh's eyes, it's the greatest baseball game ever made. So I'll let you go first. Who do you got?
So this is brutal. This is not, what did you say this matchup was?
It's 1-8.
There's no way. This is a 1-1. Anyways, so to talk about 2K5, I was a Madden player, so I didn't do too much on 2K at that time. But if you look at the reviews and you do some research, 2K5 is arguably the best NFL football game there's ever been. It revolutionized graphics, gameplay, presentation. They had the ESPN presentation. So it was game changer as far as that goes. As far as MVP baseball though, I'm not a baseball player, guys. I don't play baseball games too much, but I got addicted to this game. If you're a franchise mode player, this game was revolutionary before its time. Like, it's better than the only thing that can touch it now is 2K. 2K basketball. That's the NBA 2K is the only thing that can touch it as far as the franchise goes. In this game, you could build your stadium from the ground up. So basically what it is, you pick your team, you can play, and look, I'm going all over the place, but there's so much to this game. That's why. Let's just start with the stadium build. You pick your team, you build a stadium, but you only have so much assets, so much money at first to build your stadium. So basically, you're starting off with like a minor league looking stadium. And then from there, based on performance, based on bringing in money, that's when you could add on to your stadium. You can add seats. You can add like
you can add concessions. You could that would bring more fans. You can
add everything. You could add ads, like literal ads to the side of the back of your backstop and all that stuff to like bring in money that way. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. You have a budget for hiring coaches and stuff like that. Your players, you have minor league. You can start off at single A. You got single A, double A, and triple A on that game, and obviously a major league. So you can have players work their ways up from the minors to the majors. Like, that game had everything, and the gameplay was pretty solid too. The graphics were not bad for 2005. So that game was before its time, no doubt. in my opinion, I'm going with MVP baseball or MVP '05. I know 2K5 might be the best NFL game all time. I'll argue that though. I'd actually go with Madden because so basically out of these two, I'm going with MVP. But I want to talk just a little bit about Madden against 2K5, Madden '05 against 2K5.
Yeah.
Arguably the best two of each series. So Madden was basically, if you're a franchise type guy, you'd probably roll with Madden '05. And this is what I've heard from sources like online, people, other YouTubers and stuff like that. 2K was revolutionary inside and as far as gameplay, presentation, and all that goes. Madden had a little bit better franchise mode, but it also had good gameplay. So it just depends if you're bigger on just gameplay, then you're probably going with 2K. If you like franchise mode, you're probably going with Madden. So I was always a Madden player, and if I would have played both things at the time, I probably would have stuck with Madden because I was always been a big on franchise. But anyways, for this vote, I'm taking MVP baseball.
You know what? I'm with you, man. I'm with you because I played MVP baseball. I played baseball games growing up, and I was on the fence about both of these, but you literally, not only did you have me sway one way or the other, but I'm like, oh, hell yeah, MVP baseball all the way. I remember that. I remember having that budget. I remember I remember adding stands, but then having to make more money by getting concessions and hot dog and popcorn stands. And who knew that adding a hot dog stand would generate more money to build part of my stadium? But that's how the game was. I didn't create the game, but yeah, I'm rolling with MVP baseball in this one. So that's cool, man. I'm with you on that one. So we have our first round set. That was the round of 32. We're down to 16 teams now. Josh, should we tease it and do a part 2 and do the round of 16 and beyond on that part 2?
Oh yeah. We gotta go. We gotta split these up. Y'all gotta watch the next video.
Let's do that, guys. We're gonna come up with a winner. So you ain't gonna even want to miss this, guys. Go to part 2 right now. Go to part 2. We're gonna split it up. Check it out. Again, don't forget, like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at those two dudes podcast. What else am I missing? Spotify. Check us out on Spotify, guys. Like and subscribe.
Notification bell so that whenever time we put out a video, you guys can get that video. Basically notifying y'all that we got a new video out. So hit the notification bell. For sure. And let us know what y'all want to hear, guys. We're talking all things sports. Obviously, we're talking some maybe some not so stuff that's sports too, something just, pop culture, whatever's going on in the world. We'll talk about it, man. Let us know what y'all want to hear. But hey, listen to this video, go to video number 2, go to part 2. Let us know what games we missed. Let us know what y'all want to hear. What obviously what options we're just way off on, what choices we missed completely on. Let us know. We want to hear, but it's that dude, Josh. That's that dude, Ruben.
Check us out. Go to part 2 right now. Go to part 2. We'll see y'all there.